Welcome to the Panic Room, where we talk about all things panic-inducing. I am the Queen of Panic. Warning, some episodes may contain content that may be disturbing to others. Viewer discretion is advised. Now let the games begin.
Just wanted to share an incident that happened to me and my brother back in the summer of 2000. I was 8 years old at the time, and my brother was 13. Context: at the time, my uncle was a major in the armed forces and was posted with this family to a small town in southern Pakistan called Pano Akil. As we were in the middle of the summer break, me and my family were invited to stay at my uncle's place for a week. A long overdue chance to catch up with my cousins and spend some good old-fashioned family time. Just to describe the general layout of the house in a better way, Army-allocated houses are slightly unorthodox. They comprise of a small 2-bedroom home surrounded by large grounds on the front and back. The ground in the front was where all of us would play football, or just generally hang out about, and the ground in the back had a moderately sized pumpkin patch, a laundry unit, the kennels where the 2 dogs were kept, and more interestingly, a small enclosure with a gate on it, which was locked with a large padlock. Curious about that enclosure, and having tried, and failed, to unlock it, me and my brother asked my uncle about what was inside, to which he politely told us that it was not important, and under no circumstances should we try and get inside it, or fool around with the lock. Now, dear reader, do you think we abided by his instructions? Obviously not. Me and my brother roped in our cousins to try and get that lock open, but the damn thing couldn't budge. On top of that, there wasn't any crawl space or any crevice above the gate that I could climb on top of to get inside. It was sealed like a box, in a sense. Making matters worse, we kicked the gate, hit the lock with whatever we could find. Nothing. By the end, we were sweaty and tired and just headed inside before sunset. The incident. Remember when I said we went for this trip in the summer? The house had only one air conditioner, and my grandparents slept in that room. It was unbearably humid indoors, so all of us decided to sleep in the front lawn outside on traditional jute beds called manjis. This is pretty common, especially back in the day when air conditioners were not common in middle-class households. Me and my brother shared one manji with our 2 cousins, completely oblivious as to what was about to happen to us. I remember this as if it was yesterday. I abruptly woke up to see everyone asleep around me, and at the foot of the bed was this massive shadowy silhouette standing there, looking straight at me. There were no features to this being, no face, no mouth, but just an intense darkness where the eyes would have been. It was probably 8-9 feet tall. It towered over us. It didn't move. It didn't make a sound. It was just watching me. I remember being completely paralyzed. For at least 2 minutes, I just lay there looking at this thing. I felt this warm dampness spreading down my leg. I wet my pants. I mustered up some courage to try and wake my brother up, poked and prodded him until he jolted awake, cursing under his breath, looked at that being and just shouted, "Amma! Amma!" Mom, Mom, waking up the whole family. This thing, in just a flash, bolted towards the back of the house, but not as if it was running away. All we could see was a long shadow, visible enough in the dim moonlight and the little bit of lighting outdoors, just flying off. My dad and uncle ran to the back of the house, chasing this thing. The rest of the family eventually followed, and what we saw blew our minds. The door to that enclosure, the one we had been trying to open all day, was wide open. The padlock was on the floor, and inside was an unmarked grave. What followed was a thorough verbal bashing from my dad and uncle, who explained that that grave was that of a local elder, and the locals requested to keep it locked at all costs, as there was a dwelling of jinns that was present to guard the grave. Our goofing around disturbed the entity, and resulted in this paranormal occurrence. On a side note, I am not particularly religious, never have been, but this incident has always shaken me up because I have never been able to rationalize it. I've posted to this thread now a handful of times about the spooky things that happen in the house I currently live in. From my brother hearing footsteps when no one is home, and lights flickering on and off, to furniture moving, to hearing voices. Now there was an apparition. We had just got home from dinner, and I was in the bathroom getting ready for bed, and my husband was grabbing our kitten to bring her into our bedroom to also get ready for bed. He turns around and gasps, then starts frantically exclaiming how scary something was. I ask what happened, and it takes him a minute to finally tell me that he seen a figure by our bedroom. It was all black in the corner, and when he noticed it, the figure disappeared in front of his eyes. He said it was freaky as heck, and that his heart rate was very high. He didn't fall asleep very easily after that. I bought my home 4 years ago, and have had a lot of strange things happen while living here. I am in my 40s, and have never had any paranormal experiences before moving into this house. I have a lot of lights turning on and off, sinks turning on by themselves full blast, the vacuum turn on by itself, items disappearing and reappearing, paintings start swinging on the walls, music randomly playing from all the speakers in my home at once, as examples. Even the HVAC guy who recently worked on my furnace asked me if my house was haunted because he witnessed things turn on and move on their own. Earlier today, I dropped an earring on the floor. I watched as it dropped and hit the floor. I saw it on the floor. I bent down to pick it up, and it disappeared. Like it was there 1 second and gone the next. I looked all around for it. I got a flashlight, moved furniture that was sorted nearby, and looked underneath. I even got a broom and swept the area trying to find it. It was gone. It literally disappeared into thin air right in front of me. I felt like I was going crazy. I left the house and went on a long walk to clear my head. I came back, looked for it some more, and again, I couldn't find it. I then said out loud, "Ha, very funny, you've made your point. Just let me find it before I go crazy." I then had an urge to look a specific place for it, and found it. There is no possible way it could have gotten where I found it from where I dropped it. For the record, I do live alone, and no one else was at my house today. So the creepiest thing happened to me and my husband last night, and I came straight here to tell you about it. So last night about 3 a.m., I woke up to pee. I walked over and have an uneasy feeling, but I chalk it up to nothing because the house is huge and literally always has given me the heebie-jeebies. My brother, who just turned 21, lives in one of our spare rooms. One is completely empty, and the other has my makeup desk inside with my laptop and things I don't want my huge dogs to have access to all of the time. As I walk up to the bathroom door, I hear a noise that sounds like a TV show playing, super quietly. I stop in my tracks because my brother normally plays his TV super loudly because he is on the opposite side of the house and he has a sound system. But because this is super quiet and he was normally sleeping this late because he worked super early in the morning, I was a little suspicious. I put my ear to his door, but it didn't sound like anything was coming from in there. I put an ear to my makeup room door and, yeah, I peed quickly and returned to my room because absolutely not. Then my husband needs to pee too. I went to sleep without telling him what had happened. The next morning he tells me he did the same thing as I did, but he opened the door instead. He said it was very eerie, that it felt like a horror movie because it felt like he was being lured into a trap. He said that it was very uncomfortable and it was awkward in the air. Plus, my laptop was closed, but it was playing a YouTube video. We must have tested it at least 10 times. My laptop does not play anything at all when closed. It automatically turns off. I would like to start off by saying I am non-religious and also a skeptic. This strange phenomenon has haunted me for so long. I've been scared to speak out, as every time I have, I was never taken seriously, even when I was trying to figure it out without a paranormal lens, which is understandable, I guess. This story begins when I was 12. Me and my family went to Port-au-Prince, Haiti for a vacation. At the time, I had no belief in the paranormal or supernatural. The first night I went to sleep and woke up late at night to the sound of a very loud scream that sounded like a female in pain. I thought it was my mom, but then it continued. More and more screams from different people. I could clearly pick out the characteristics, such as gender, an estimation of the age, and an estimation of the pain. I also heard distorted laughter and gates opening and closing. Some of the houses had gates. Some of the screams came from strange locations. For example, I heard some come from upwards on the ceiling, or in the sky. This continued all night, all the way up until the morning around 6 a.m. I heard what sounded like a truck horn multiple times, followed by screams. And then it all stopped, like nothing happened. This continued the entire 2 weeks that I was there, some days with less screams, and some days with more. Everyone else I was there with claimed to experience these things. Young adults and old adults and other people my age, and it was normal to them because they have been there for so long. Even while typing this, I feel like a crazy person, but I know what I heard. I hope to be able to go back someday and seriously investigate this through the lens of science. This has been something that people have talked about locally in Haiti for a long time and have real investigatable evidence. They are even able to predict some key characteristics of these phenomenons. I will leave research up to you if you want to know more from the locals. Has anyone experienced something similar while in Haiti? Maybe specifically at Port-au-Prince? If you have any of your own stories and would like to submit them for narration, please go into the link in the description and submit your stories to the subreddit to see your stories featured here. And as always, thank you for visiting the Panic Room. you have successfully made it to the next portion of your tour. Please stay tuned for your next prompt. Click the like button and subscribe to receive notifications for when the next portion of your tour is ready to join. Thank you for watching. Don't let the panic drown you.